Good evening and bienvenue, my fond fair friends, family, and subscribers. This is your humble narrator, Diomedes Rouge, here to bring you yet another episode of What If a Monster Hunter Was Sent to the World of Ruby? Now, where we last left off. Oh, the mayhem that was caused by our good friend Ignatius. Oh, the carnage that he brought upon the White Fang warehouse in his drug-induced rampage. Oh my, oh my. Well, I wouldn't say induced, more like drug benefited. Induced is such a harsh word whenever he had full control over his actions. For the most part. I mean, yes, it made him a bit more on edge, but sometimes you need to be on edge. Roman surrendered after his mech was destroyed and, well, nearly getting cut in twine by good old Ignatius. Pyra interfered, and yes, I did not misspeak. No, I did not say someone else's name incorrectly. No, I did not jump the gun. You're just gonna have to wait and find out why and how she's there. Alright? Alright. Oh. And the cops are beginning to show. The helicopters are being heard. The cars are showing up. The armored transports are pulling in. All because of some explosions, automatic gunfire, and, well, all around asinine behavior for the middle of the night. And so, Ignatius does what Ignatius does best. He reaches into his pouch and brings out a last resort measure. Now, what might that be? Simple. 3 tiny, well, capsules, if you will. He loads the first one into his slinger and aims it directly at his feet as he rips Torchwick off out of their hands and slams him on the ground. All of them, but the rest of Team Igni about to react when suddenly he fires the projectile just a few feet away from him. And as he fires it, within the entire area of the warehouse, a thick, well, furious cloud of smoke begins to erupt. As Ignatius presses harder onto Roman's chest with his boot, basically letting him know if he tries anything, he's not afraid to cave in his sternum. Ulysses gets on his comms and tells his team, "Run, get to the bullhead. I'll cover you and take the reps for all this." "What? Get everyone out. That's an order." Eugene responds with, "No, you aren't doing this by yourself." "Yes, I am, Eugene. This isn't negotiable. If I go down, that's 1 out of 4 people. 1 out of 4 good people that goes down. If you all stay around, you all get arrested, you all could get some serious trouble. It's better I get blacklisted than risking all of you. Now get out of here!" "Ignatius, you don't get to make that call for the entire team." "Listen here, Shrike. I'm team leader, which means I damn well do. Get the team and get out of here. Have a bit of faith in me. Trust me, I ain't planning on leaving y'all as soon as you think. You know, you pick real bad times to act like a team leader. Well, what can I say? I don't like throwing my weight around until it's actually needed. Now get! As Shrike goes open on all comms within the area. Listen here, we got our orders. Get everyone and move out to the bullhead. As Gallon says, alright. He picks up Weiss and Ruby, while Eugene runs over to Blake, and together they get Yang to go along with them to get the heck out of Dodge and back onto the bullhead. Meanwhile, back with the ground forces, they're beginning to see something about to take off through the smoke whenever they see this bright, blinding flash of light. As when we check with Ignatius, he goes over comms saying, cover your eyes and your ears. Wait, what? As, well, first one, he loads it to his slinger. Flash bomb! And it gets right into the front of the ground forces before a bright, blinding flash of light erupts. And then the next one, Screamer Pod. Imagine, if you will, a flashbang grenade going off in separate intervals instead of simultaneous. You're first blinded, you can't see anything, you're moving around trying to get your orientation, and next thing you know, an ear-piercing sonic screech is infecting your eardrums like that of a burning white-hot needle being dropped into it. Oh, it hurts. As with the bright flash and the sonic disruption, the helicopters immediately pull to the sides, unable to get a clear view of who and or what took off in the bullhead. As, well, Natasha makes her way back to, well, back to the academy. Via long, arduous route. At that point, Ignatius just releases his slinger, takes his sword and lays it upon Roman's chest, flatways, not edgewise. He said he'd keep him alive. But with the sheer weight of that weapon, well, Roman ain't going anywhere. But that's whenever he hears a small ahem. And he goes, oh no. Who didn't? As he looks around and sees Sun Wukong and Pyra. And he goes, shit, I forgot about you two. Well, that's screwed, Pyra says in a little bit of a huff. Well, to be fair, you weren't exactly supposed to be along in here, and you were supposed to follow your girl, lover boy. As he points to, well, Sun at that gesture, at that remark. Who? Blake? Your, interest? At least I thought she was your interest. The way you two were reacting around each other, it seemed kind of like that way. What? Really? Eh, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm not intuitive into these things. I'm more of a fighter. Yeah, I kind of saw that. Yeah, you're darn straight you're not intuitive on things like romance. Huh? Nothing, Ignatius, nothing. Now, mind telling us your plan? Simple. Fire another smoke pod and you two get the heck out of here. I think I can keep them covered. I think I can keep them out of here for just a little bit longer. As Sun Wukong says, okay, thanks, and he runs off. Meanwhile, Pyra just says, don't. What? They aren't going to believe that just you did this. So, we take the hit together. No. Aren't you famous or something around here? Exactly. They won't judge me that severely. And you obviously know you're valuable to Ozpin. So, how do you know that? We all seen the forge. Good point. And the other privileges. Be like, yeah, fair point. I can't really deny that. So, yeah. Combine all that together, you wind up looking pretty safe. And giving Ozpin a good reason to come down and collect you. Meanwhile, you let the other teams escape without, hopefully, too much going on in the way of them being tracked. Well, care to sit with me a while? As Roman just says, help, having a hard time breathing. Oh, good, that means it's working. What's working? Oh, just the sheer fact that I placed the sword on him. You do realize he needs oxygen. I said I wouldn't kill him. I never said that he gets off free. That he gets off scot-free. He can live without oxygen for a few minutes. Help me. Come on, Ignatius. Nope. No, I agreed not to bisect him. I never agreed that he gets to breathe. Besides, the cops will be coming up here in 3, 2, hands in the air, now! As several troopers wander in through the fading smoke, having quite a large different, arsenal of weaponry. As Ignatius puts up his hands, and so does Pyra. Meanwhile, Roman's going, help me, can't breathe. As several of the officers begin, taking in both Ignatius and Pyra, and about 12 officers try and pick the blade up off of, poor Roman. They are unsuccessful. Finally, they get to about 15 of them, and they're just barely able to flip the damn thing over on the other side. They don't so much pick it up as they just flip it over the edge and are able to pull him out as Roman just takes a deep I want that man arrested for nearly murdering me. Attempted murder. Said, yeah, Mr. Torchwick, we have plenty of charges to be pressing, and a lot of them are against you. What? I'm innocent in all this. He tried to murder me, and oh, shit. All right. As they get them all loaded up into the paddy wagon, as some of my viewers may say, if they are from the European region. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if that's still a thing there or not. I just like saying paddy wagon. Hi, paddy wagon. It's such a fun word. Now, on to the jail. Well, they have to unequip every one of their weaponry. With Roman, that's simple. With Pyra, that's relatively simple. With Ignatius, my apologies. Thinking of another person there for a brief moment. More on that person later. Thinking of Ignatius, he is unequipped. And it takes a good solid 30 minutes to get everything sorted out. The armor unbuckled and taken apart. Well, say taken apart, taking off. The slinger to be removed and set off to the side. The several pouches of different ammo types for the said slinger. The several pouches of potions, poultices, powders, drugs, tonics that he carries around on him. Oh yes, it's quite the ordeal. Once everything's set aside and all that, well, needless to say, they are quite astonished at the small arsenal that he is carrying. Say, why did you carry all this? White Fang. White Fang, yes. That's why you brought a small arsenal. There was a small army. Uh-huh. So, yes. You know, I'm not even really gonna question it. I'll wait for your interrogators to do that. As well, they interrogate both Pyra and Ignatius and Roman separately. Because, of course. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Do they not realize how badly they have done? Because you see, Pyra, she's smart. She doesn't say anything without her lawyer present. Ignatius, he doesn't know anything about lawyers. However, he doesn't like to shut up. And so when they ask him a question, he'll answer that question. The only problem is he'll answer that question with about 6.5 paragraphs worth of information that only about 3 sentences worth are actually the information that they were looking for. So it's a long, arduous process, to say the least. And he's not doing this intentionally, nor is he doing this irritatingly, nor is he even doing this out of malice. He's just doing this because this is who he is. He's very helpful. He's very reliable. And he wants to genuinely help people who he thinks are good. What's better good in his eyes than someone trying to catch Roman and the people who are disrupting the natural order of things? So, he helps them in the best way he can, by giving them every bit of information he can in a smallest amount of time possible. The only problem is, it's so much information they can't process it. It literally hurts some of their brains trying to figure it out, and honestly, they think he's lying about a good bit of it. Coming here from another world? Bull! Being able to create these powders and everything else by himself? Baloney. That weapon is one of only many others that he has in his stockpile. Please, all hunters only carry one weapon. Blah 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 blah. Needless to say, things do not progress smoothly as Ignatius would like, but they don't regress either, due to his genuine, kind nature. Oh, but how that changes whenever, eventually, Mr. Ozpin shows up. As he does, well, the first person he's sent to meet is Ignatius, who Well, the conversation goes a little bit like this. Hello, Professor. Ignatius. Yes. Why are you here? I heard White Fang was in the neighborhood, and I heard that they were a terrorist organization designed on killing, torturing, and possibly hurting people. So I went on a bit of a cleanup. Cleanup. Is that what you call? What was it? Oh, yes. 500,000 in damages to not only the building, but to Atlas equipment. Yes. You couldn't have left the equipment alone. Well, they would have used it to escape and or attack me. And they said don't kill them. I mean, unless you wanted me to be covered in a lot more blood, in which case I don't mind, but from what he told me, you guys don't like that sort of thing, so non-lethal option it was. As Ozpin just kind of goes, smacking his forehead and giving a slight chuckle. Igni, you do realize you are in a very large amount of trouble. Oh, yes, I do. So, who joined you on this little outing? No one. Then how'd you get there? Glider mantle. Glider mantle. You see it right there. As he points to, well, some of his gear and a nicely folded up and properly placed, well, what looks to be poncho. As they kind of fiddle around with it and everything else, this is a glider. Oh yes, it's called the glider mantle. For as long as I have proper wind elevation and everything else, I can glide for, well, pretty good amount of time until, well, it loses its, I guess you'd say, durability, or until it loses the wind out from underneath it. I see. So you use that to glide all the way from Beacon to the docks. Nope. No. I hoofed it the rest of the way. As soon as I was able to get an idea of where the warehouse was, getting there was no big deal, especially with my slinger. As he points to the slinger, and yeah, why do you have a crossbow attached to your arm? It is not a crossbow. For your information, it happens to be a built-in grappling hook / slingshot. Grappling hook slingshot. Yes, it's utilitarian. It's not meant for damaging. Granted, it could throw things that damage the living heck out of you, but still, it is not meant for damaging in and of itself. It is utilitarian in its primary purpose, which is to get you where you need to go quickly. As he's trying to get off that previous subject. So you use this to traverse the landscapes and such, mainly buildings, houses, such like that, find appropriate position, then use the glider mantle to, well, glide down and create a lot of ruckus. From what we can tell, that's actually true. Another, well, detective walks in. Oh, and how so? Eyewitness testimony from a couple of those grunts say that they looked up and saw a giant shadow flying overhead. And then they looked up to see this crazy SOB, then take out his big sword and proceed to jump down. See, I told you. So you're saying you did this alone? For the most part, yes. For the most part. I take it that girlfriend of yours says something otherwise? or is also a part of this? Well, she's not my girlfriend, for one. And for two, why don't you ask her? We tried. She's asking for a lawyer. What's a lawyer? As Ozpin just slaps himself in the forehead, saying, I really should have told him more about this stuff. I didn't think he'd get himself in trouble this damn quickly. At least in his head, he says that. How much damage did he cause? Well, to Atlas property that they'll be wanting back, a lot. Like, we're talking hundreds of thousands of gil. Uh-huh. And the actual property structural integrity is slightly damaged, but for the most part is unharmed. Slightly damaged, per being the key word. Still gonna need, well, a couple thousand to fix it up from where your little wrecking ball came in. Uh-huh. And the dust? Don't get me started on it. It's that bad? Oh, it's that bad. Like, almost all the dust of jars, cases, containers that were stolen recently, about half of them have been found there in that storehouse, scattered across the ground, shattered, broken, ignited. You name it, it's ruined. Your little friend there ruined so much valuable items, so much valuable gear and equipment. But I stopped the enemy. Yes, you stopped them. But you could have done something different. You could have called the police. But there were too many of them. There were too many of them for us. Yes. And how do you figure that? Simple. You're weak. Excuse me, Ignatius? No, Mr. Ozpin. I shall not back down from this. Simple. You are all weak. You're fragile. You're delicate. You are too weak to do what is necessary. You are too foolish to put two and two together, and you are too ignorant to actually work on the things that you are supposed to be working on. Instead, you have to force hunters to do everything for you. You have hunters to find what you need, gather it, bring it back. You have hunters take care of any problem creatures that you cannot deal with yourself. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You're just weak. Weakness has its own properties and merits. For instance, while you may not be able to help out in matters such as this, you can always help out in other smaller ways, which helps out the primary group, which in turn helps out everyone. So there's nothing to be ashamed of for your weakness. For your foolishness, however, yes, you should be very, very ashamed, considering they were operating under your nose this entire time and you did not even notice. For that, there is no excuse. You should be very disappointed in yourselves. As these grown men are looking at each other and at Ignatius in a mixture of anger, shock, sheer on hatred, flabbergasted would be the closest way to assess what they look like at this moment. And then he looks over to Mr. Ozpin, who's just kind of holding his head. Meanwhile, while he's hiding his face, he just has a small smirk. And then he tells him, if you want, sir, I can pay off all the damages. It shouldn't even take me that long. Oh, really? Yes, really. Do you realize how much was damaged? Can you let me see a bill? Sure. as they bring forth a bill and, well, an estimate of the damages, and he goes, "Oh, yes, I have more than that. I have more than enough to cover that." Wait, what? Even Ozpin's going, huh? As he reaches into his bag, into his pouch, and, well, I wouldn't say his pouch, as he reaches into the side and brings out, well, his wallet. And they're all going, wait, how did you have that? Oh, you guys are terrible at searching people, too. You should really know that. You gave up after like the third loose end pocket. Everyone knows you put your wallet in the fifth. As he brings out, well, a shite ton of, from what he knows as Zinni, from what they know as, well, I believe it's either Gil or Lin. I can't really remember what they call it there, but anyways, basically the equivalent amount, and they're just going, "How do you have this?" "I'm a hunter. I get paid for hunting. I've been hunting since I was younger than, well, knee-high to both of you. I've been hunting professionally since I was waist-high to both of you. I've been..." So, yes, I've had plenty of time to save up my money as well as use it to upgrade myself and, well, everything else I do. Are we done here, gentlemen? As Ozpin just grabs him by the shoulder, grabs him by the back, and just says, yes, Ignatius, we are done. As they're leaving, well, Ozpin takes a stop by where Pyra's being held, and before he can even enter, she's already got her lawyers to let her out. Like, it's not even. It's like not even a few seconds due to her fame and more than likely connections from Weiss concerning the sheer fact that upon getting back to Beacon Academy, she would call in any lawyer she could to go to the police station to try and help out her friends. So yes, they all are free to let go back to Beacon. At least that's what they think. Ozpin looks at them and just goes, "I am very disappointed in you both. Why didn't you contact me?" It was a heat of the moment, sir." "Okay. Who was all involved? Legitimately. Team Ruby and Team Igni, as well as Sung Wukong and Pyra." What? "Ignatius, he's going to find out eventually. He's the headmaster of the academy. There's nothing really we could do to hide it from him. It's best that get off the chest now, because I don't have a feeling that he'd make this public. Am I wrong? After all you have is all you have is the word of an outsider. As far as I know, there's no physical evidence that proves otherwise." "Yes, unfortunately, you are very right. There is no physical evidence that proves that anyone else was involved besides you. And whatever physical evidence, marks left on anything, we can always assume that you or Miss Pyra left behind on y'all's little excursion." So, what exactly happened? Well, simple. We got a distress call from Team Ruby, who was investigating. My team did, at least. I don't know who else got it. Upon hearing it, we immediately called off the shenanigans we were up to and commandeered a bullhead and took off towards the docks. I ordered Gallon to charge in ahead and basically told Eugene to team up with Natasha at the side for proper sniper support. He could pinpoint the enemies and where they were going to be, and she could, well, and he could relay the information to her, which she could use to pinpoint and take care of him. Meanwhile, I remained inside the bullhead to, well, how should I say, power up. Power up. And how did you do that? Mega Demon Drug, Might Seed, Demon Powder, Mega Armor Drug, and Ancient Potion. What? Mega Demon Drug allows your body to go beyond its physical limits and restraints, allowing you to exert more strength and power. Only downside is it increases your aggression levels. Might Seed can also do the same thing even when combined with Mega Demon Drug, or rather added on top to. For about a 3-minute time span, your muscles are. It kills any pain and it kills any pain receptors within your body's nerves and allows you to go beyond your physical restraints. Demon Powder basically increases the amount of endorphins flowing through your body, making it to where you will fight harder, faster, and stronger. Mega Armor Drug increases the calcification rate of your top layer skin, making it hard as rock, increasing your natural defensive properties and shock absorption. Ancient Potion increases your by increasing your metabolic rate to a point that's virtually near cancerous. It can increase your health as well as stamina for a short period of time. Meanwhile, it is temporary. How did you come across all this? I made it. You made them. Yes. All hunters are masters of alchemy. Well, I wouldn't say masters. Some of them are better than others. I happen to be a expert. My sister, she's a master. I learned most of what I know from her. Uh-huh. And all of you hunters from where you're from take these drugs on near daily basis, yes. So what's the negative side effects? Well, in addition to hyperaggression caused by the powder, seed, and drug, afterwards you will feel quite lethargic as well as exhausted, like I am now. Combine that with the Mega Armor Drug, which leaves you feeling a bit frail as the dead skin begins to peel off and decay, and your fresh new layers have to regrow. And the downside of the Ancient Potion, you're hungry as hell. Uh-huh. So you're saying that's only the side effects, and I'm assuming they're quite addictive? Not in the slightest, no. You can pretty much stop anytime you want, unless you get hooked to the power trip. The power trip is really the only negative side effect because most hunters believe they cannot fight without these supplements. Reason why I use them relatively sparingly and only bring them out on certain occasions. Certain occasions? Yes. Whenever I'm outnumbered nearly 60-1, yeah. That's an occasion I prefer having them around for. Fair point, fair point. So you're saying you're resistant to the whole power trip they could cause you? Yes, very much so. My dad raised me at a young age to be very careful around these sort of, enhancements. Because while they are powerful, they are temporary. And a hunter cannot rely upon them always due to the sheer fact that some situations may require you to bring an entirely different kit. For instance, more explosives or traps may be needed. Tranquilizers, which would leave less room in your standard issued bag for carrying that. Combine that with the sheer fact that you're sometimes not wanting to immediately kill the creature and capture it for research and development or research and study. And then, yes, you really don't want to kill them off or give yourself something that will make you more bloodthirsty. Uh-huh. Wow. And if worse comes to worse, I always carry one of these around me just in case. And what's that? A cleanser. Hmm. And what does that do? Well, in this case, it's a specially modified version that, well, me and my family have made. It basically purges the body of any type of abnormal status conditions fairly quickly, including any ones that would be deemed as beneficial. Only problem is you will be quite lethargic afterwards and you will need to desperately eat something. Uh-huh. And the other type? Oh, the other type of cleanser is, well, basically what you think. It's a cleanser. It cleanses the armor of gunk and grime and everything else. So one's a household material, the other one's a detoxifier. Yes, how do you keep them from getting mixed up? No clue. No clue. Yeah, they literally look kind of the same in liquid form, so I kind of have to keep only one of them on hand at a time. You really didn't think that through, did you? No, not in the slightest. It was kind of experimental when my sister started making it, and, well, I tried it, I liked it, I figured the effects could be useful, and then realized I carried different cleansers, and yeah, you could say it was quite awkward. You're very strange, Ignatius, Ozpin says while holding the sides of his temple. And you, Miss Pyra, how did you get involved in this? I saw Team Igni getting into the bullhead, and, well, from what I overheard, someone was in trouble, and I basically used my semblance to, well, magnetically stick myself to the back of the bullhead as it was taken off. Uh-huh. To be fair, if it wasn't for her, I'd also be facing a count of murder. Murder. Oh yes, I was very, very close to bisecting Roman Torchwick. Really? As I said, very bloodthirsty when it comes to stuff like that. He severely irritated me. Alright. Both of you will officially have detention for the next week. Aww. They both kind of groan. And as for you, Ignatius. Yes, sir. You're on thin ice. Pull a stunt like that again, and you're going to be removed from team leader. Understood? Yes, sir. You need to be more informative with people. You could have come to me, and we could have come up with something different. You could have gone to the police even. Time was of the essence. Speed was key. While I can't support your actions, I won't denounce them. Sound familiar? Very much so. And so they get back. Team Igni is reunited. And by the way, guys, I have been saying poor Eugene's last name wrong for a while now. Yes. I originally thought it was Strife. No, it's Shrike like the bird, Shrike. So yes, it's Eugene Shrike. My apologies, Ouroboros. Anyways, back to the thing. Eugene and Ignatius kind of reunite. Everything's good back in the hood, so to speak. Natasha's having, well, just kind of a bit of an irritation fit with the way he acted and bossed them around. Gallon's going like, you took one for the team, man. Good job. And, well, everything kind of progresses as normal. And that's whenever Eugene has an idea. And he goes up straight to, well, Mr. Ozpin's office. Over the next day, after classes are done and everything's over with, including his detention, he knocks on the door. Come in. How can I help you, Ignatius? I want to start a club. A club. A club. What type of club? Horticulture. Horticulture. Yes, you don't know a lot about my planet or my world, and I don't know a lot about yours. If the time comes to where I should be able to get to my planet again, I want to be able to leave something here that at least made this world a bit better. So, I have plenty of seeds and such in my inventory, which I can, well, plant around here. I'm not the best at farming, but what I can grow will help out in the future. And how big is this plotted area that you plan on making? Oh, about 20 foot by 60 foot. That's an awfully big plot. I'll pay. You'll pay. I'll pay. Like, I'm pretty sure, considering the way y'all's priced, the way y'all's world prices things and the way my world prices things, yes, I can pay the amount of money you will need for that land for temporary use. Or, depending on how you like it, permanent use. You're very confident about that. Believe me when I say, everything that I've gotten here using currency has cost so much less than anything back home. I literally had meals that, while not as good, while my meals back home were a bit better, they literally have, some of them have cost me over 1,000 in money. And food here that is almost as good has cost me barely a percentage of that. I believe I could actually afford quite a few things here, sir. Make sure you don't ruin the economy. No problem. I only will buy things that you permit from now on. At least you're communicating better. So, very well, you will divvy up a price for the club and the supplies later, and you can pay for it. So you'll have to come up with a group of people to join you in this club, and yeah, you know the drill. And he goes around and searches for people to join up. He's able to get a few volunteers. Ruby, Yang are kind of interested in it, thinking it might have some flowers and stuff like that might look pretty. And Jean naturally is interested because, well, not only is Ignatius wanting to be a part of it and all that, but, you know, it's just that he's a good, and not only is he a good friend as well as technically a teacher, he's also going to wind up trying to get some sort of edge from anything that they grow back there, considering he knows that Ignatius doesn't just use weapons and prowess to win all of his fights now. Pyra joins up, but for different reasons. We get into those later. And, yeah. It's their own little group. Oh, shut. Natasha joins up as well, mainly because it seems like a good place to alleviate the boredom. And, or be left alone. Pardon me. And so they continue. Over the next couple of days, they gather all their gear, they start digging and harvesting the land, and, well, not harvesting, cultivating. That's the word, cultivating the land. Making it nice and neat for all the precious little plants to grow. But due to some detention that him and Pyra still have to do, he hands off the duties of growing it to, well, Jean. And promises to buy him something later, and in addition to this, he tells him, if you need any help, just ask. And Jean just says, please help. I have no idea how to take care of these plants. Like, I know how to take care of plants, but these is a lot different. They look so strange. And relax, Jean. Calm down. Everything you need to know is right here. As it brings out a very old and leather-wrapped book. To those of you who are fans of this series, you all know what this book is. To those of you who are viewing this as your first episode of this series, what the heck's wrong with you guys? Go back to episode 0. Trust me, it's a lot explained there. You don't start off the series 6 episodes in. Come on now. Or, well, that's technically 6 episodes in. But you get the idea. Actually, technically, never mind. You get the idea. And they go, wow, this book looks old. It is. My sister made it for me so I could learn. All her notes, everything was handwritten by her hand. It's one of the only things I have left to remember her by. You have a sister? Pyra says, yeah. Twin sister. We always got into arguments about who was older and who was more annoying. She was more finesse, while I was more brute strength. She preferred taking her time along a hunt and making sure everything was properly set up. Meanwhile, I would set things up on the fly and sometimes charge in half-cocked. You don't seem to do that a lot anymore. I mean, you kind of charge in, but you're very precautious. I took a few notes. In the area I was, you couldn't really charge in half-cocked unless you were ready to get yourself killed. With no stable supply lanes and everything else. Yeah. Anyways, that book means a lot to me, so I'll be expecting it back. Of course. Are you sure you want to relax? Jean, I trust you. You won't let anything happen to it. I know this. You won't break it or anything like that. Trust me, it's held up to years of abuse by me. I highly doubt there's anything you could do to it that's going to harm it. Yeah, you're right. Now anyways, these pages right here on the back, they should be able to tell you how to take care and properly tend to the plants. Okay? Yeah. Alright. As they kind of begin walking away towards the detention zone. Meanwhile, Team Cardin is kind of looking out, and they see a new addition added to the school campus. A garden. Wow. Who would think that such a big, bad bastard had a flower garden? Yeah, I know, right? So much for him being top dog. He's more like top pansy. I don't know, Cardin says. We could pay him a visit. Or show our immense gratitude for the way he talked to us earlier. As he kind of rubs his jaw. Yeah, I believe that'd be a good idea. If I'm not mistaken, though, Cardin. Yes? I believe Jean's a part of that little club. Oh, that makes it all the better. We get to kill two birds with one stone. And so, Team Cardin heads down, while Jean is busy tilling away at the soil. I wouldn't say toiling away at the soil, not tilling, toiling, working on it, so to speak. Making sure they all get in the proper spots and everything's properly set up. When Team Cardin shows up, what do you guys want? As they begin to walk through the garden, not so delicately, trampling little stems and leaves, as Sean says, "Hey, watch it! You're ruining the plants." And Cardin just says, "Oh, we're ruining the plants! We're ruining the plants!" As the other three behind him just kind of chuckle. "What's it to you, flower boy?" As Cardin flicks him in the head. Like, "Will you guys back the heck off? What do you want anyways? Oh, don't you remember, Jean? You still owe us." "Owe you what? I owe you nothing." "Oh? You owe us back pay. We were gonna leave you alone for a little bit, seeing how you were friends with the big bad dog, but the big bad dog just is a flower boy. So, yeah. Pay us the money you owe us. Or, well, boys," as they begin to kind of stomp around the whole flower garden, kicking over things and all that, as Jean gets fed up and charges at one of them, slamming his fist right into their solar plexus, knocking the wind straight out of their lungs. Now, Jean hadn't been slouching. He's been training with Ulysses quite a bit, but he's still not quite there at hunter potential. So, 4-on-1, it's a bad fight on his end. He does his damnedest. He does his damnedest by far. But he gets the living crap beat out of him. Over and over. As whenever he finally gets knocked onto the ground, Ignatius's book flies out of his pocket and lands in the mud. As Cardin walks over there and says, "Oh, will you look at this?" As he picks it up and opens the book and, "Wow, Jean, I knew you were girly. I didn't know your handwriting was this girly, though." As he flips it all around, he says, "Stop. Put that back. Give that back to me." "Oh, I don't think we will. unless you give us the money. I don't have any money. Well then, I guess you don't have any book either. As Cardin takes it and slides his fingers into the center of the book, and by using sheer amount of strength, tears it right in half, utilizing not only his aura, but leverage. As he takes the remainder of it and stomps it into the mud. As Jean begins to tear up, realizing he's done failed his friend. They wail on him a little bit more, and then they walk off. Natasha, she is the one that finds Jean 5 minutes later. Where was she, you might ask? She was in the library, reading her book. She didn't want to be out in the broad open with the sun the way it was, and preferred air conditioning, and figured, well, it's just planting. And Ignatius said I didn't have to be out there if I didn't want to be. He just needed another person for the registry. At least that's what she thought. As she gets out there and sees a poor, beaten down, slightly bloody Jean, unconscious. She immediately uses her scroll and starts calling everyone. And I do mean everyone. All the way from Team Juniper to Team Ruby to Team MF and Igni. The rest of Team Igni, including Ignatius himself, gets this call and he's furious. Someone beat up Jean. He rushes down now that as the tension's been over at this point. He rushes out. He charges with as much might as he can to the infirmary. As Jean begins to wake up. He begins to tear up, saying, I'm sorry, Igni. I'm sorry. As Ignatius just says, it's alright, they're just plants. They're just plants. I have many more seeds where those came from. It's okay, we can fix it. It's not a problem. You did what you could. As he just puts his hand on his, you did what you could, partner. You did great. You look like you put up a real fight. As he brings out a potion. So here, drink up. Thanks, Igni. As he downs the mega potion and instantly begins to feel a whole lot better. Now tell me what happened. Igni. What? Your book. Right, my book. Where is it? We could use some notes from it to help No. Team Cardin. They came out there. They tried to mess with me. I tried fighting them off, but they just overwhelmed me. They knocked me down and your book fell out. They tried messing with me more, but I couldn't stop them. He ripped it up. He ripped it up. Igni, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I failed you. As Igni just pats him on the head. He doesn't say a word. He gets up and walks out, as everyone else is going, what the hell? But Galen and Eugene and Natasha, oh, they all know that look. They know that ominous feeling, that ominous aura he's giving off. Pyra, she feels this, and she hasn't felt that sensation since Roman. Oh yes, Igni is in quite the mood. And that's where I'll leave off for the day, folks. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you do like that Igni is back. Team Igni forever! And please do, if you feel like spreading this around, drop a comment. I'll respond to it more than likely. If not, I apologize. I'll probably get back to it later. And leave a like if you feel like it, or a dislike if you didn't like it. I'm not picky. Have a blessed one, and goodbye.